When I started floating, I felt that it was this incredible opportunity for the body to finally just relax. And then once the body relaxes, you can start dealing with all the crazy stuff that happens in your mind, right? As you know, I play violin and it can be really, really grueling. Like a lot of people think, oh, you play music, it must be so relaxing and so beautiful and all of that. But actually, when you're playing every day, all these bits of you just tighten up. You end up living in this state of anxiety. What do you call it? Flight or fight?
Flight or fight, yeah.
When the system is just buzzing,
absolutely,
out of control. And so you, of all people, know what floating does.
It's funny, I would never have thought that playing a violin like classical music would create so much tension.
Well, the biggest difference between classical music and other music, any other improvised music or made up music, or music that, say, if you're a rock band and then you go on tour for 6 months, so you're repeating the same thing, so it's really in your memory. But classical music, we're reading all the time. And if we read all the time, we don't retain it and we don't listen to it because the brain can't read and listen at the same time. It spends a lot of time alternating, like back and forth. But when you're reading, you only have this short period of rehearsal time to get these massive symphonies ready for a performance. So we only have 2 days and then we have to do 3 concerts. So the reading brain is really heavily developed, which is also the abstract brain, which is also the opposite of the creative brain. And so what floating has done for me personally is after a couple of sessions, it ends up quieting down the abstract, mathematical, crazy stress brain and awakening the creative, free-thinking brain, which then ends up balancing you and physically settling you down. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
I hadn't thought about it like from that perspective, or the fact that when you're playing so intensely and having to read all the time, that it consumes so much of that left hemisphere of the brain.
Yeah, which is extremely stressful place to be all of the time. And not only that, we work nights, a lot of nights. So we have full days teaching children, whatever. We wake up at a normal time and then we make our dinner and then we rush off to a concert. So we're still working till 10:30, 11 p.m. and this goes on and on and on, and over time the bits of your body that are overused, they just get more and more and more. Like with us, these shorten and the back ones overextend, and it just creates all of these zigzag problems. I've noticed that every time I have stressful thoughts, the parts of my body that are overworked by violin, they just automatically start tensing up. And that didn't happen when I was floating regularly. Yeah, all those bits that normally subconsciously started tensing up, especially here, they just are allowed to relax and relax and relax. Yeah.
So Sarah, we've known each other a little while now, but remind me how you got into floating and how you got to come to Water Temple, because I know it's not around the corner from where you live.
No, it's not what you would call convenient for me. The complete opposite side of town, but worth it. Well, I know you, if you remember, you discovered floating and then you were telling me all about it, and I thought, sounds weird. You know, I'm a bit conservative actually, but because you have this fabulous personality like mine, a little bit pushy, a little bit, come on, try it, it's really good for you. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so it was absolutely extraordinary. And I will be honest, it wasn't like, it was so strange the first time that it was like nothing else I'd ever done in my life. And then the second time, I just dived down into this deep meditative state where the hour in the tank just passed. The third time, I was able to really watch my thoughts go by and detach myself from my thoughts, which is also a really important thing that happens in floating, is that you can observe your thoughts just like you do in meditation. But often in meditation, you get distracted by noise or whatever. The great thing about floating, especially here, it's the most beautiful, beautiful centre. I mean, you will not find bathrooms cleaner than this place. You feel like you're in a space-aged environment. Anyway, I'm getting off track. So thanks to you, I discovered floating, and I have floated all around the world, but this particular centre, congratulations, it's absolutely beautiful.
So Sarah, what sort of benefits do you get from making a regular, like you float on a regular basis?
Yeah, there's a lot of issues there. A lot of people don't do that special thing for themselves because they think it's selfish or they've got too many things to do. But that's a part of the problem that brings you into this stress state. So forcing myself to come here, because it was forcing myself in the beginning. You've seen my diary. It's impossible to fit anything in it. And it's a big trip here. But once I made that regular commitment, I started noticing that body and mind became so much more connected. And each time I floated, a different sensation would happen. Sometimes I would be bored. Now, being bored is actually really important in today's society because people aren't bored anymore. If they're bored, they go on to the internet and they find something to do and they watch TV. So sometimes, constant stimulation, and that's part of the problem leading towards anxiety. So being bored, you get to be bored in the tank. It's fantastic. You get to go into a deep meditative sleep-like state, which isn't sleep.
It's restoring.
You can totally feel your body restoring. So sometimes you get in there and there's something bothering you that is on your mind that you really need to deal with. So you use the time to just nut out that one particular problem, and the tank gives you that space and time and mental energy to be able to deal with that one particular problem.
Because that point,
Process.
you could see that emotion straight away just then with you you saw and then you felt.
Yeah.
And then you remembered that you could process that in the tank.
I'm actually getting goosebumps feeling how important those sessions are. So whatever people expect to get out of floating, it's going to be different than what you expect. It's this life-changing mind-body experience, which, I mean, this place is just perfect for it. I mean, as I said, I've been to other float centres, but this one is quiet and clean and beautiful, and there's gorgeous candles everywhere, and it's just the most conducive space for self-healing, which we all need it.